Progress.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum everyone. Hope you all doing very well and very welcome to after our long vacation of Eid al-Fitr. Hope you all enjoy a lot about the Eid and the vacation. Now, welcome to the training session series, which is conducted by the eLearning Center, Jazan University. And today we do have a very interesting topic, which is related to the e-learning content design and development, which is we will discuss with the framework of National E-Learning Center standards. That is abbreviated as the NELC. Let's talk about something related to the standards. You know, anything without standards, there can be no improvement. We are working on a standards, we are working on some decided or guidelines, instructions, some rubrics. So we do need to follow up some of the standards if we are wish to just implement some kind of improvement in any field of life. In the dynamic landscape of education, where the digital platform increasingly shape the way knowledge is different in a different way, in an innovative design and development of e-learning content just stand as a pillar of effective pedagogy. With this rely adherence to establish a standards ensure not only the quality but also the efficacy of educational experience as well. So among these standards, the National E-Learning Center sets a benchmark for excellence in the content creation and delivery. By embracing the principle of the instructional design, accessibility, interactivity, and the continuous improvement, e-learning content developers can leverage the NELC standards to craft engaging, accessible, and impactful learning material to just making towards the diverse audience. In this discourse, we dive into the effects of e-learning content design and development within the framework of NELC standards, exploring best practices, strategies, and consideration essential for fostering enriched learning environment in the digital age. You know, the many services have been transformed to e-services, which is an umbrella term for services on the internet. E-learning is the one of the most important e-services offered. It is the most used training or higher education courses. At the same time, quality of education is the aim of all higher education institutes, especially in the urban world. Quality learning is the goal for any online education program. This quality must be equivalent to the quality delivered via on-ground courses and programs in any institution of higher education. We are talking about the National E-Learning Center. So National E-Learning Center for E-Learning applies information education and technologies to improve the capacity of the educational and training process in its form also control quality. The center has financial and administrative independence. So they are giving us the three main aims: that trust, integration, and innovation. I want to elaborate a little bit more about the National E-Learning Center that was established as an independent entity by the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Council of Ministries, decisions number 35 in 1439 Hijri. It aimed to enhancing trust in e-learning, providing lifelong equal access to e-learning, and leading sustainable innovation in e-learning in order to achieve trusted online learning.
Participants can now see your application.
As we are talking about the National E-Learning Centers, so they do have a vision that trusted online learning for all. And also they do have They do have a mission about that to enable globally competitive citizens through flexible, engaging, and trusted lifelong learning. The values related to the just set up by the National E-Learning Center, that is the trust, integration with everyone, and with the innovation. So these are the basically aim of the National E-Learning Center. You can see there is a board of directors are listed up here. There's a number of different board of directors. They are connected with it with the from the Ministry of Education, from the other university, like University of the Book, the other universities. These all are the board of the directors. And these are the Board of E-Learning International Advisory. So these are the connected with the not just related to the national things, but there is also connectivity between the international different kind of the advisory, management, administration, so the connectivity of international terms. Here is a lot of success partners with the National E-Learning Center. That there's one of them is the Jizan University is also one of the success partner. Also, you can see the different kind of the logo, which is familiar with you, like the STC, like the Q1. QM is the quality measures, is one of the international level standards, and there is a OLC. OLC also one of the fixed standards for the e-courses. Audacity, you can say Coursera, EDX, Future Learn. These all are the different kind of the LMS platforms, which is just providing the e-learning content courses. And there's a lot of universities which is connected. So the important part is that Jazan University is also one of the success partners. Let's have a services. How many services do National E-Learning Center have? There's the services of the research and consultations, and the training and qualification. While you're talking about the licensing, the NELC provides institutions and program licenses for institutions which provides e-learning and training program based on approved licensing regulations. The aim is to govern e-learning and training practices in accordance with international best practices with high efficiency and effectiveness. And if you're talking about the recent consultation, what is this service? Basically, the RNC aims at conducting assessments and developmental studies. In addition, it offers consultations in the field of e-learning to enhance trust, quality, and effectiveness in all private and the government institutions that offers e-learning. Moreover, it provides a database for e-learning resources, measuring beneficiaries' satisfactions, and assessment of the presented studies and research in accordance with the highest standards. And if you're talking about the training and qualification, so National E-Learning Center qualifies and trains all institutes and individuals providing e-learning training programs on international and local best practices, the field of that meet the NELC standards and strategic goals. So you can see that they have a different kind of the variety. There is a different kind of the trainings. For the professional trainings, you can see the professional certificate in the provision of e-learning and training. So you can see the different kind of the benefits that teacher and children education faculty members in the university and the trainer in the training agency. And this certification is the professional certificate in the designing e-learning experiences. For ELXD is for the instructional designer, education technology specialist, and the teacher and the faculty member. And here is the third one, that is the ELQA, that is a professional certificate for the e-learning quality control. This one is for the quality control, and who will be eligible to take this, that the e-learning quality control specialist and the attributor and the evaluator of the e-learning programs, educational supervisor, and the school principal. So you can see there's a different kind of the variety of certifications are available, but these are all the paid certification. You can also, as an individual, you can take this opportunity to get the certification from National eLearning Center website. Just open that website and you will get these different kind of certification like OTT, ELXD, and the ELQA. So these are the different kind of the certification. This was just for the trainers in the training agencies, faculty members, and teachers. And this one is related to the instructional designer, education technology specialist, and the teachers and faculty members. And this one is just contributed towards the quality control specialist. So these are the different kind of the categories for the certification, but these are the paid certifications. Okay, now moves toward the e-learning content design and development standard partners. As we saw that the QM, the quality matters, and the online learning custodian, that is the two different you can say organization which is giving international set standards for creating online course. So you can say digital course, online course, e-courses. They give us a different kind of standards which we follow, but these two have a different kind of you can say different variety, or you can say different categories. If I elaborate, this online learning custodian is the leading professional organization devoted to advanced quality online learning by providing professional development. OLC is a collaborative community of higher education leaders and innovators dedicated to advancing the quality digital teaching and learning experiences designed to reach and engage the modern learner, anyone, anywhere, anytime. So the motive of the online learning custodian is also to just giving a professionalism standard with standards to groom or develop the instructors and give them a standards to follow up to fulfill the e-courses. So let's talk about the quality matters. QM is also the familiar familiar terminology with you. Maybe you heard about it, that the quality matters. Quality matters is one of the organization which is a nationally recognized faculty driven peer review process used to ensure the quality of online and blended learning courses design. So these are the two set standards organizations. Like the QM is the mostly used internationally and most trendy and famous. So we will just elaborate this one, the quality matters. OLC is also on the same pace and also internationally recognized, but most of the universities internationally using the QM for just check or ensure the quality of their own courses. QM standards were developed and revised based on the research and established standards in the field of instructional design and online learning. What happened? Like when we are going to talk about the e-learning or online courses, this is not just a one, you can say the slide. This is the one complete package which must have the all the related quality categories content available in one complete course. So they just give a one set of you can say the guideline or standards we have to follow. If we follow that, then we will be eligible to say that we do have a quality based online course, which is basically necessary if you are offering as a university or administrator. If you are going to offer e-courses, for example, you are talking about the e-courses as our university is going to just establish this one, then we have to follow any of the standard that whether it's OLC based standards or the quality matters. So we most of the universities offer the quality matter standards. They just follow up the guidelines related to the QM. So you must need to be, if you are doing any instructional design or online learning courses, you need to be follow the guidelines or standards of QM. Your course must be fulfill the quality matter standards. When we are talking about the standards, we are much familiar with this terminology, that is a rubric. Rubric is basically set of instructions, set of standards, set of guidelines, simple words. You can say that if you are talking about I'm going to set a rubric, it's mean you are going to set a one package of instruction or a guideline. I'm just talking about the simple Blackboard assessment. There is a one point in a setting that there is a rubric. You set the rubric for your assessment auto check. So there is some kind of instructional things you just put it there, some standards, some guideline related to checking that assessment. So that is basically a rubric. So a set of 8 journal standards and 42 specific review standards used to evaluate the design of online and blended course. This is a very important line, that I'm just talking about the QM. So QM giving you 8 journal standards. There is some of the journal standards which is just count is 8, and there is a 42 specific review standards used to evaluate the design of online and blended course. When we are ready to create a one course which include your videos, your content, your audio, many of these things, which is a combination of one complete e-courses, then we follow up through any kind of the tool, any kind of the standard or quality insurance. That is the important part. So we use the QM standards, and we have to just go through that course through the standards of QM. If that course is past the 85% score, then we can say that this course is on a quality and we can publish it. So you can see the rubric has scoring system used to review team. Whether a course meets standards. When it's just meet the standards, and then we can say it's okay, the essential standards, the 3-point specific review standards must be met during the review, and an overall score 85% of points possible are required for a course to attend QM certification. What it does mean, that there is a kind of the 3-point specific review standards. 3-point specific review points mean if the number is let me show. If the standard is assigned a number 3, that means this is the essential part you have to follow. And if it's a 2, then it's a, you can say it's a mediate form, you have to do it, but it's not essential. And if the number is 1, that's mean it's you can do it, but it's not a very essential part of it. So I will show up you this rubric. So before going toward that, we have to learn who uses this rubric. Who will use, like the individual faculty and instructional designer can use. 4-year accreditation colleges and universities implement these kind of the rubrics, and the community colleges and universities implement these kind of the rubrics and standards. Okay, here's the general standard of the rubrics. The 8 standards I was talking about, there's the 8 journal standards, and there is then 42 specific standards, which is very important. This is not a very you can say it's a very lengthy process or these kind of thing, but this is You just believe me, it's a very important as an instructor, even though you are talking about the online courses, or even you are talking about the blended learning, like the blended learning, you are giving a your course in the traditional environment, you, because you know this is the now the trendy, or it's implemented everywhere. If either you are working with the fully online environment, or you working with some blend with the traditional education. So here's the 8 general standards of the rubric are the course overview and introduction, learning objectives, assessments and measurements, instructional materials, learning activities and learner interaction, and the course technology, learner support, accessibility, and usability. Here is a one point of accessibility and usability, that meeting the QM's accessibility standard does not guarantee or imply that the specific country, federal, state, or local accessibility regulations are met. Please consult with the an accessibility specialist to ensure that the accessibility regulations are met. As we are talking about the different kind of, for example, the arab countries have the some kind of specific different kind of standards for the accessibilities and just following on the international level. So for the accessibility point, they said they have to be consult with the local standard of that specific government or a specific country. Okay, let's start from the very first quality matter point, that is a course overview and introduction. And here we do have 9 sub different kind of options in it. These are the sub rubrics, you could say the specific rubrics. These are the specific rubrics, and the first journal rubric is the course overview and introduction, and these are the specific rubrics. And here is the different point, you can see 3, 2, and 1. 3 means that it must be implemented, it's essential. 2 means it's essential, it's good, it must be added, but the you can say intensity from this one is a little bit low, and the 1 mean the this is the least one, it's not much essential, but it's have to be included. So let's have a look that what is basically the first rubric, that is a course overview and introduction in detail, and one by one these specific this specific rubric we will discuss and we will see in a demonstration. Let's have a look.
Hello everyone. This short video aims to introduce the first quality matters standard, which focuses on the overall design of the course. The overall design of the course should be explained to the learners at the beginning of the course. In a way, the course overview and introduction set the tone for the course, let learners know what to expect, and provide guidance to the learners.
So you can see this is the very first step, that the course overview and introduction. By the name, you can easily judge that what is about it, that you have to set the tone, inform, and the guide to the student what they are going to learn. So this is the mandatory part of even a simple a course, which is a traditional classroom, or even a blended learning, or even online courses. This is the essential part, that the overview or introduction to the student what they are going to learn.
Hello everyone. This short video aims to introduce, which focuses on the course should set the tone for the course, let learners know what to expect, and provide guidance to the learners. There are 9 substandards included under Standard 1. Some components of a standard are essential, which means that in order for a course to pass QM reviews and receive accreditation, they must be met. Each of these essential standards is worth 3 points. Other standards are labeled as either very important or important. These score 2 or 1 points respectively, and it is acceptable not to meet every single component as long as altogether the total overall score received reaches 84 points out of 99. The first two components of this standard are essential. The third, fourth, and fifth are very important, while the last four fall within the important category. 1.
So you can see that here is a distribution of points. Essential, very important, and important. Essential worth the 3 points. It means in front of any of the sub rubric, if the point is 3, that means it's essential. It must be in the course, and it's this one is very important. Okay, it's mean it's also have a worth. It must be in in that e-courses. And this one, point 1, is the important. Important means that it's a important part, you have to add it. So you can be just judged by this. You have to be finally get the 84 marks after 99 from 99. So this is the basically flow how you will be get the number or points
within the important category. 1.1 and 1.2 explain that at the beginning of the course, instructors are encouraged to provide an overview of the course to let learners know what to expect. Oftentimes, faculty may post a syllabus, a written welcome message, or a welcome video on the Start Here button in the learning management system to convey this information.
Okay, you have to remember that in the last sessions we just mentioned that you have to open your Blackboard system, and there is a one option that start here, and there is a one kind of the form you have to fill. That is a kind of the course overview, you can say. This is also related to it, that you have to enter all the related to that course information. That is basically the overview. So this is one of the essential part.
This information. The overview may include how to get started, what to do first, where to find several course components, the schedule of activities and assignments, learning tasks, and available resources. In addition, learners should be introduced to the purpose and the structure of the course by explaining the course schedule, the delivery method, whether it is an online, blended, or hybrid course, the modes of communication, types of learning activities, and how learning will be assessed. A well-written syllabus contains all these and some additional elements. 1.3 standard says that etiquette expectations in the classroom and for online discussions, email, and other forms of communication should be clearly stated to set expectations for appropriate communications for the entire semester. Providing a link to the institution's student handbook or code of conduct is suggested, or the relevant statements can be included in the syllabus. The recommended syllabus language can also be found in the Indiana State Online Blackboard Template course, to which you may easily get access if you contact an instructional designer. 1.4 standard explains that up-to-date course and institutional policies need to be clearly stated because students are expected to comply with them. Faculty can either include these policies in the syllabus, or a link to them can be provided within the course. Policies may detail student contact, academic integrity, late submission of assignments, incomplete grades, withdrawals, confidentiality, student grievance procedures, and other instructor-established policies. 1.5 says that instructors are encouraged to clarify the minimum technology requirements for the course that students will use throughout the course. Technology may include hardware, software, subscriptions, and plugins. Providing clear instructions about obtaining, installing, and using these technologies are also preferred. Again, recommendations for policy language are available in the syllabus template posted in the Indiana State Online Blackboard Template course mentioned earlier. 1.6 says that the prerequisite knowledge or competencies are clearly stated within the course The minimum technical skills expected of the learner are clearly stated. These explain general as well as course-specific technical skills learner must have in order to succeed in the course. Examples include using the learning management system, which is Blackboard, sending and receiving emails with attachments, creating files in commonly used word processing, spreadsheet, and presentation programs, copying and pasting, downloading and installing software. 1.8 asks for a self-introduction by the instructor, which is appropriate and available online. The introduction creates a sense of professional connection between the instructor and the learners and depicts the instructor as an approachable person. The introduction should include the instructor's name, title, field of expertise, past experiences with teaching online courses, teaching philosophy, email address, phone number, time of availability or office hours, and preferred communication methods, which could be by email, phone, or even Skype video conferencing. 1.9 says that learners should introduce themselves to the class at the beginning of the course to create a welcoming environment and a sense of community where students can reach out to others. Learners should be explained where, how, when, and in what format they need to provide their introduction. These may occur by utilizing the discussion board, wikis, or blogs, where text, audio files, short videos, or a combination of such elements can be uploaded. Providing students with guiding questions to be answered in the introduction is a good idea. Instructors may role model the activity by posting their own introduction for students to see before students are asked to complete the activity. And what are the key points in Standard 1? Let's review. Instructors clarify how to get started in the course, where to find resources, and what the purpose of the course is. Online etiquette expectations for communications need to be explained. Course and institutional policies are clearly stated or linked to the course. Minimum technology requirements, technical skills, and prerequisite knowledge for the field are defined. The instructor provides an appropriate self-introduction that is available online. And lastly, learners are asked to introduce themselves to the class.
So you can see that the standard one, that is of the introduction of the course, must have these all points, which is get started, find resources, purpose of the course, the etiquettes, online etiquettes, and the course and instructional policies must be followed, technology requirements, technical skills requirements, prerequisite knowledge, which is important to take or join this course, and the instructor introduction, which is very important part, and the learner introduction as well. So this is all about the first standard. Let's move toward the second standard, that is the learning objective. So learning objective is the second standard, and you can see that this is a second journal standard, and we do have 5 sub specific review standards here. And here is the points 3, 3, 3, 3, and 3. So that means these all are essential part of the course. It must be in your course. Let's have a look what are these the sub review specific rubrics and how we will be able to complete it.
Hello everyone. This short video aims to introduce the second Quality Matters standard. The second Quality Matters standard focuses on learning objectives, which construct in a way the DNA or the foundation of the course, because the subsequent elements are built upon the stated learning objectives. What are learning objectives? Learning objectives, also called learning outcomes or competencies, describe what learners will be able to do upon successful completion of the course. Carefully written learning objectives are extremely important because they motivate students. They lead to developing meaningful activities and purposeful assessments that are aligned to the overall goals of the course, and they provide evidence that the objectives are met. There are 5 essential elements in the second standard. 2.1 states that the course learning objectives should describe measurable outcomes. Measurable learning objectives, as stated moments ago, describe what students will learn and be able to do upon successful completion of the course. How will the instructor know that the students meet the expectations? A measurable objective is observable, includes an action verb, and describes mastery level. The Bloom's taxonomy can be a useful resource in developing measurable learning objectives. Here's an example from the Quality Matters rubric. Upon completion of the course, learners will be able to demonstrate the correct use of personal protective equipment. 2.2 says that the module or unit learning objectives describe outcomes that are measurable and consistent with the course level objectives. Course objectives are broken down into learning objectives at the module and unit level, which are more specific than the course objectives. And
See, for the objectives, you have to be focused that there's the one of the course objectives, and then you have to break down to the modules objective, like the module or the unit learning objective. This is basically, you can say, the hierarchy of a course. First of all, we have to be just specify that what are the basically the course objectives, and then we do the some hierarchy and convert it into the module or units of the courses, and then we have to just specify the learning objective of the module.
describe specific skills, knowledge, or competencies that will be mastered during the module or unit, but overall, they all contribute to the achievement of the course objectives. Alignment is an essential concept that Quality Matters emphasizes. In a sense, alignment means that the learning objectives, activities, materials, technologies, and assessments match up. Instructors teach what is in the learning objectives, students learn what instructors set out, and instructors accurately assess what students are learning. In addition, learning activities, materials, and technology should also be utilized to support.
See the alignment. Alignment is the all the connectivity between the all the assets you can see. There's the assessment, technology, learning objectives, and the learner. So they do have a one connectivity and one complete alignment between all these assets. It's a very important part.
The achievement of the learning objectives. Hence, all components effectively and purposefully work together to reach the desired outcomes. 2.3 states that all learning objectives and competencies are stated clearly and written from the learner's perspective. Learning objectives should be easily understandable even for non-native speakers and written without unnecessary complex language or jargon, so that students can understand what learning outcomes are expected of them. Learning objectives should be explained to students not only in the course introduction or syllabus, but in each module or unit too. 2.4 states that the relationship between learning objectives or competencies and course activities is clearly stated. Instead of just listing the learning objectives in the syllabus, the instructor can use a numbering system to show how course activities and assignments correspond to the learning objectives. Instructors then can list and explain in a narrative form the learning objectives in the assignment description. 2.5 says that the learning objectives or competencies are suited to the level of the course. This means that the expected learning outcomes are appropriate for the type and the level of the course. For example, a lower level course may include lower level learning objectives containing action verbs such as list, explain, or classify, which may align with assessments that require students to partake in a discussion or simulation, create a concept map or poster, or take a multiple choice true false test. Upper level courses may expect students to analyze, create, or evaluate ideas, concepts, or materials, for which the aligned assessments may ask students to present a business plan, write a research paper, create a portfolio, or complete a case study. Lastly, let's review the key points of the second Quality Matters standard. Course learning objectives should describe measurable outcomes. Module unit learning objectives should be measurable and consistent with the course level objectives. All learning objectives should be stated clearly and written from the learner's perspective. The relationship between learning objectives and course activities needs to be clearly stated. And finally, the learning objectives should be suited to the level of the course.
So you can see the standard 2, the overview about the standard 2 that includes the course objective and the measurables, which is the essential part, module unit objectives, which also align with the course objectives, clearly written objectives, and the link objectives and activities of the course and also suited to the course. So these are the main points, which is all the points are essential for the standard 2. So it means we have to fulfill all these learning objective strategies.
Hello.
Okay, so move toward the next one, that is the assessment and measurement. This one, the third standard, that is have the 5 sub rubrics, and you can see the points. The first 3 are the essentials, and the last 2 are very important. So let's have a look about the assessment and measurements.
Hello everyone. This brief video introduces the third quality matter standard that centers on assessments and measurements. Assessments are designed to evaluate learner progress in achieving the learning objectives or mastering the competencies. Assessments need to be designed and implemented in a manner that corresponds to the course learning objectives or competencies. Through assessments, the instructor can measure learners' mastery, while learners can track their own progress throughout the course. Of the 5 components of this standard, the first 3 are essential, while the 4th and 5th fall within the very important category. 3.1 focuses on the need to design assessments that measure the stated learning objectives or competencies. Appropriate assessments are valuable tools in confirming or measuring learner mastery. As a reminder, module learning objectives need to be consistent with the course level objectives. The video introducing the second quality matter standard explains that alignment between learning objectives and assessments is critical in the quality matter standards. In short, course and module level assessments need to measure what was set out in the learning objectives. Students should be able to successfully complete the types of assessments if they have met the objectives stated in the course materials and activities. For example, a composition can measure writing skills, a multiple choice quiz verifies vocabulary knowledge, and a case study demonstrates critical thinking skills. Alignment fails if the objective is to write a persuasive essay, but the assessment is a multiple choice test. It may be a good idea to follow a backwards design where the learning objectives are constructed first, then purposeful assessment items are created, and finally the teaching learning activities are developed. 3.2 says that calculated and what points, percentages, or weights are used for each component. The relationships between points, percentages, weights, and letter grades are explained. In addition, instructor's policy on late submissions is clearly defined. 3.3 explains that the learners are provided with specific, complete, and descriptive evaluation criteria for their work and participation, which are tied to the course grading policy and are stated upfront at the beginning of the course. Performance should align with the course objectives or competencies. 3.4 describes that the selected assessment instruments are sequenced, varied, and suited to the work being assessed. Multiple assessment strategies may include utilizing interviews, Utilize the widely used traditional assessments, such as multiple choice, true, false, or matching test items.
So the assessment instruments must be sequenced. It must be sequenced and varied. There's a different kind of the variety in it, and also suited to the work. So these are the instruments which is assessment must have.
Appropriate assessments measure the right level of skills and knowledge. Assessment should be varied in order to promote multiple ways for learners to demonstrate mastery and to accommodate diverse learning styles. During sequencing, assessment should promote the learning process and build on previously mastered knowledge and skills. Assessments also need to be paced properly to give learners adequate time to complete the work in a thoughtful manner. Avoid administering all assessments during the last weeks. Instead, space them out as the material is being covered. You should also avoid utilizing only multiple choice tests, as it will not meet the
So it's mean that you have to avoid that all assessments in the last few weeks of semester. So this is not appropriate activity. And you also have to avoid that utilizing on the multiple choice test. That every time you just giving a multiple choice test to as an assessment. This is not just recommended, because this is not a variety of the assessments and not giving a students effective learning. So you have to avoid it.
Hello everyone. Work and participate varied and suited during sequence been covered in the course yet would also.
So requiring students to demonstrate something that has not been covered here. That it's not you are not teaching any part of the course and you are asking for demonstrate something to the students, so which is not appropriate.
Not meet the standards. Lastly, it does not meet the standards when discussion boards are assessed on the basis of frequency or word count instead of on criteria related to the course objectives or competencies. 3.5 asks that the course provides learners with several opportunities to track their learning progress. Learning is more effective if learners receive frequent, substantive, and timely feedback. Feedback may come from the instructor, from assignments and assessment that have a feedback feature built into them, or even from other learners. Self-check quizzes, interactive games, simulations, other activities, and practice opportunities with feedback features are appropriate and may even allow multiple attempts. Regarding writing assignments, it may be a good idea to require a first draft for which the instructor provides suggestions for improvement, and then students can submit their final, improved paper later. It may be effective to utilize peer reviews and critiques, sample answers, or answer keys. In addition, portfolios, journals, reflection papers that require students to self-evaluate their work could be purposeful assessments. Sharing exemplary essays for learners to review is another way to model expectations. It is now time to review what Quality Matters Standard 3 promotes. Assessments should measure the stated learning objectives or competencies. Course grading policy should be clearly stated. Learners should be provided with specific, complete, and descriptive evaluation criteria at the beginning of the course. Selected assessment instruments need to be sequenced, varied, and suited to the work being assessed. And finally, the course should provide learners with several opportunities to track their learning progress.
So you can review that the standard 3, that assessment must be made a learning objective which is defined in the standard 2 with the alignment. So there must be already explain about inner learning objective related to the assessment. So it's a clearly grading policy, and also specific, complete, and descriptive evaluation criteria must be present before the assessment or inner learning objective. And also it must be a sequence varied and suited to the work assessment. and also giving a different kind of opportunity to track the progress of the student. So these are some main points related to the standard 3. Now we are going to talk about the standard 4, that is the instructional materials. So have the 5 sub specific rubrics, and you can see the first 2 is the point 3, that means these are the essential, and the last 3 is the point 2, that means that's the very important. Let's have a look. The standard 4.
Hello everyone. This is the 4th video in the Quality Matters series. It aims to explore the 4th Quality Matters standard, which turns attention to instructional materials. Instructional materials enable learners to achieve stated learning objectives or competencies. Hence, the focus of this standard is on supporting the course objectives and competencies.
So you can see there all the upcoming standards have an interactivity between the learning objectives. So learning objective is a whole essential part and very critical part that you have to be line up very carefully, because all the upcoming standards have interactivity between the learning objectives.
These through the proper use of instructional materials. The first 2 components are essential in the standard. The 3rd, 4th, and 5th are very important, while the 6th component falls within the important category. Next, let's look into some details. 4.1 says that the instructional material should contribute to the achievement of the stated course and module or unit learning objectives, which again refers to the importance of the alignment process introduced in the 2nd standard. Hence, instructional materials should be aligned with the learning objectives and integrated effectively with the tools, assessments, and activities selected for the course. Instructional materials may include, but are not limited.
So you can see that as in a standard 2, in the learning objective, identify the alignment. It's very important that the material, the learning objectives must be connected with the technology, assessments, and the learning activities to get the effective learning objectives. So this alignment is a very important part. It's also included in the standard 4.
To textbooks, publisher or instructor created resources, multimedia, and websites. 4.2 describes that both the purpose of the instructional materials and how the materials are to be used for learning activities should be clearly explained. It simply means that learners should be provided with an explanation of how the instructional materials, resources, technologies, and learning activities are used in the course, and how each will help students achieve the learning objectives. 4.3 explains that all instructional materials need to be cited appropriately. The citation requirement applies to instructor-created materials, publisher materials, textbooks, images, graphic materials, tables, videos, audios, websites, or other forms of.
So you can see that there is a citation formats are available here, that when you are talking about some of the citation, that is the references. So you have to follow up these 5 different kind of the formats. As you are just going to the Google Scholar and you want to cite any of the research paper as a reference, so you have to click on a site and you will get all these kind of 5 different format to cite that paper. So this is related to that.
Multimedia. Citations role model the practices learners are expected to follow when documenting references. At minimum, a citation includes the author's name, date of publication, title, and URL or source. Online courses follow different regulations than face-to-face courses regarding copyright issues. For example, uploading an entire article, book, or video into the learning management system will violate copyright regulations. Instead, if possible, a link to such resources can be posted. Understanding and applying copyright in online educational environments is very important. It is encouraged to locate relevant resources and become
copywriting in online education is a very important part to be considered, because while you are giving a different kind of resources for learning, so the first part is you have to create your own content. And if you are not able, or you want to use any other content, so then you have to put the reference or resource of that content there, like a link, or just give a reference about that particular content, because this is a very important part. While you are just working online, you can't use any other person work in your as a behalf of your work. So if you are using any kind of video, any kind of the content, anything which is created by somebody else, so you have to give a credit or a reference.
It's 21 hours.
Form of the best practices. If you follow the embedded link, you will find a quality lesson developed by Lisa Hughes related to this topic. 4.4 defines that the instructional materials need to be current. It is advised to utilize up-to-date discipline-specific materials. For example, an introductory computer course may include information on recent trends in data storage or security. An English writing course might discuss the purpose of internet research. A chemistry course might include computerized models to demonstrate chemical operations, or a human resource course may provide resources related to locating current and pending legislations. 4.5 recommends using a variety of instructional materials in the course. These may include textbooks and other publications, instructor-created resources, websites, and multimedia. Typically, a course should include multiple sources rather than material from a single author. If the only instructional material provided is a textbook, the standard may not be met. 4.6 states that the distinction between required and optional materials is clearly explained. Learners need to know which resources and materials are required and which are optional. For example, extra videos or resources included for enrichment purposes and not required for course completion may be labeled as optional. Designations about required and optional materials can appear in the syllabus, class schedule, or in the instructions for the learning activities. These designations should be available from the start of the course. Now let's review the key points of the fourth Quality Matters standard. Through purposeful alignment, instructional material should contribute to the achievement of the stated course and module or unit learning objectives. Both the purpose of the instructional materials and how the materials are to be used for learning activities should be clearly explained. All instructional materials need to be cited appropriately. The instructional materials should be current. A variety of instructional materials should be used in the course. And finally, the distinction between required and optional materials should be clearly explained.
So you can see that in the standard 4, there is some of the points which is important of the instructional material, that you have to achieve the objectives, you have to define the purpose and how it will be able to do, and the citation of a content if you are using any kind of resource, and the resources must be currently the latest one, and it must be a variety, and also you have to put the required and the optional point of the content. If some of the content is required, you have to mention before in the syllabus and before the starting. So you have to be mentioned that this part is the required and the other part is the option. Okay, now we do have the next standard, that is the fifth one, that is the learning activities and the learner interaction. And all the 3 points are essential, and the fourth part is very important because it's stated here, point 2. Let's have a look about this standard.
Welcome everyone to the next Quality Matters Standard tutorial. This brief video introduces the fifth Quality Matters Standard that focuses on course activities and learner interactions. Course activities are beneficial because they facilitate and support learner interaction and engagement. Course components that promote active learning contribute to the learning process and the learner's persistence. The fifth standard includes 4 components, 3 of which are essential, while the last one is very important. Next, let's look into the details of each component. 5.1 says that the learning activities should promote the achievement of the stated learning objectives or competencies. This reminds instructors of the so many times explained alignment process. The purpose of the learning activities is to facilitate the learner's achievement of the stated objectives set out in the course, module, or unit. In addition, the alignment with appropriate assessments, instructional materials, and utilize course technologies also assist learners to reach the learning objectives. An example of a proper alignment between objectives and activities is when the objective is that the learners deliver a persuasive speech, and the course activities prepare them for the speech by requiring them to choose an appropriate topic, create an outline of what to include in the speech, and record a practice speech. If the objective is to deliver the same speech by the end of the course or module, but the activities do not include chances to practice that skill, then alignment does not exist between the objectives and the course activities. In short, course activities should provide opportunities to practice or build up a skill that must be learned by the end of the course. 5.2 states that the learning activities provide opportunities for interaction that support active learning. Active learning means that learners engage and do things such as discovering, processing, and applying concepts.
Active learning, what does mean of active learning? While you are talking about the e-courses, so the interactivity in between the e-courses is important part. So if you are just providing them a recorded video and such courses which is just a recorded simple video, so there's a no interaction between the learner and the students, and that we are aim to giving such kind of the sessions in this e-learning center is to giving you awareness about how you will become able to create an interactivity between your courses. So we do have a plenty of different sessions which giving you a variety and many kind of the ways how you will be able to create interactivity in your e-courses with the learner. So here in this standard is talking about such kind of the interactivity and the active learning, that student must interact with the screen. Okay, they have to talk with the screen and they have to be engaged with the screen. This is basically a more essential part of creating any kind of the e-courses of any standard, any university, any kind of organization, that this is the basic main part that you have to build, include any kind of effective interactivity between the screen and the learner. Then you will be able to say that you have a successful e-learning, your online course, yeah, on, you can say, the e-course. So this is the one of the essential part.
Purposeful interactions may occur between the learner and the instructor, learner and content, and lastly, between individual learners. Interactions may vary based on the discipline, purpose, and the level of the course. The purpose of the interaction is more important than the number of opportunities for interactions. Activities for learner-instructor interaction may include a submitted assignment for which instructor feedback is provided, synchronous chatting, video conferencing, or an asynchronous discussion board exchange. For learner content interaction, assigned readings from a textbook, article, or online resource may be used. Completing a workbook or online exercise is another option. Activities for learner-learner interaction might include collaborative activities such as group discussions, small group projects, or peer critiques. Student-to-student interaction is not mandatory, but if it is appropriate, it can greatly add to the learning process. 5.3 describes that the instructor's plan for classroom response time and feedback on assignment is clearly stated. Frequent feedback from the instructor increases learners' sense of engagement. Learners need to know when they can expect a response to emails, discussion postings, feedback on assignments, and grades. This information typically appears in the syllabus. If the response time needs adjustment during the course, the change should be clearly communicated to the student. 5.4 says that the requirements for learner interaction are clearly stated. A clear explanation of the requirements for the learner interaction helps learners plan and manage their class participation and provides a basis for the instructor to evaluate learner participation. The more specifically the expectations are explained, the easier it is for the learner to meet the expectations. Typically, expectations are stated in the course information or syllabus. More specific, task-related performance expectations may be included in the individual task or assignment description. The instructor may also provide detailed rubrics to describe how learner interactions will be evaluated. Let's now summarize the key points in Standard 5. Learning activities should promote the achievement of the stated learning objectives. Purposeful learning activities provide opportunities for interaction that support active learning. Instructors' plan for classroom response time and feedback on assignment is clearly stated. And lastly, the requirements for learner interaction should be clearly stated. This concludes the brief introduction of the 5th.
This is a brief introduction of the Standard 5, that the learning activities promote the learning objectives and the purpose, full learning activities, interactivity between the students and the instructor, student, and the content, which is an important part, and the response time and the feedback on assessment from the instructor, and the clear requirement for the learner interaction. Let's talk about the 6th standard, that is the course technology. The course technology have 4 different sub rubrics. First 2 are the essential, because it's point 3, and the last 2 are the important one, because it's point 1. Let's have a look.
Welcome to the next brief video in the Quality Matters series. This particular tutorial aims to introduce the 6th Quality Matters standard, which turns attention to course technology. Course technologies support learners' achievement of course objectives or competencies. Appropriate technologies facilitate rather than impede the learning process. The 6th standard has 5 components. The first 2 are essential, the third is very important, while the last 2 fall within the important category. Next, let's look into the details. 6.1 states that the tools used in the course support the learning objectives and competencies. Here again, the importance of alignment appears, as the tools selected for the course should align with the course.
So you can see the learning objective alignment is a very important. It's all have a connectivity between all the other upcoming standards.
Course and module level objectives, instructional materials, and learning activities. Tools are software that provide areas for integration in the course. They may be included in the learning management system, such as Blackboard, or are external to the learning management system. A few examples with which most instructors are familiar are discussion boards, chat rooms, gradebook, social media, games, whiteboard, wikis, blogs, journals, virtual classrooms, and web conferencing. There are no specific tools that must be used in order for the standard to be met, but whatever tools are used should support the learning objectives and activities in the course. In addition, clear instructions should be provided regarding how the tools support the learning objectives. 6.2 describes that course tools promote learner engagement and active learning, which simply means that tools should help learners to be actively engaged in the learning instead of just expected to passively absorb information. Effective tools facilitate interactions with the instructor, course materials, and other learners. Such tools may be interactive, real-time software, collaboration tools, webinars, virtual worlds, shared documents, wikis, animations, simulations, games, discussion tools, or automated self-check exercises that require learner responses. 6.3 says that technologies required in the course should be readily obtainable through downloading, purchasing in the bookstore, or other means. Technologies cover hardware, software, subscriptions, and plugins. If specific devices are needed for the course, instructions should be provided on how to obtain them. A selected software should be available on a variety of platforms such as Windows, Mac operating system, or even mobile devices. Examples for software options are word processors, spreadsheets, presentation software, statistical analysis software, equation editor, web authoring tools, audio, video editing tools, or programming software. Instructors may indicate whether the software runs on PC or Mac, or what software options are available on mobile devices. When subscriptions are required, instructors should provide information on how to get access codes. To ensure learner access, provide the link to the required peripherals to be purchased, and for textbooks, CDs, and DVDs, information should be provided about the title, author, publisher, ISBN number, copyright date, and details on where copies can be obtained. 6.4 says that course technologies should be current. Since new technologies continuously appear on the market, it is wise to confirm that the technology is up to date. Examples of current technology that can enhance learning include synchronous web conference tools for orientation, group projects, tutoring, test reviews, mobile applications, wikis for group collaboration, blogs for journals, simulations for demonstrating procedures and lab experiences, and web-based voice tools for practicing pronunciation and vocabulary knowledge for English as a second language learners. 6.5 describes that links are provided to privacy policies for all external tools required in the course. These policies are important when students are required to create an account with a username and password to access a tool. In these cases, learners may wish to read the policies to know how to safeguard their accounts. Now we are ready to review the main points of the 6th Quality Matters standard. The tools used in the course should support the learning objectives. Tools should promote learner engagement and active learning. Technologies required in the course should be readily obtainable. Technologies should be current. And finally, links should be provided to privacy policy.
So you can see that in the standard 6, they again and again mention in every standard that the learning objective connectivity between the standards. So you now identify that the learning objectives are the main pillar. So we are talking about the tools and technology in the standard 6. So tools must be support the learning objective, and the tools promote the active learning. Active learning create interactivity between the student and the content with the teacher or individual as well. Readily obtainable technologies, the current technologies which is up to date, and they provide links to the privacy policies. So these are the main important points of the standard 6, which is essential to implement it.
Is for all external tools.
Now let's move toward the seventh one, that is a learner support. Learner support is the seventh standard and have the four substandards. As mentioned, the first three are the essential and the last one is important. Let's have a look.
Hello everyone, this is the 7th video in the Quality Matters series. This particular brief video aims to explain the 7th QM standard, which highlights learner support. As you may have experienced, it is indeed very important for online learners to know that they have access to and are encouraged to use the available support services at the institution. Therefore, courses should facilitate access to institutional support services essential to learner success. In this standard, 4 different kinds of support services are addressed: technical, accessibility, academic services, and student services. Hence, Standard 7 has 4 components. The first 2 are essential, the third is very important, and the last one is important. Now we're ready to look into the details of each component. 7.1 says that the course instructions explain or link to a clear description of the available technical support. Such information may include how to log in, how to use the tools and features of the learning management system, and how to get help desk support. Such information may appear in the course under a specifically assigned content tab or in the syllabus. You can provide a link to the technical support website, a phone number or an email link to the help desk, or a link to the Indiana State Online Student Academic Support Services file to meet this standard. If you would like access to this comprehensive file, feel free to contact the instructional design team on campus. On how to use the tools, external resources, such as publisher-supplied online materials and activities, clearly worded directions can be provided on how to obtain support when needed. 7.2 states that course instructions articulate or link to the institution's accessibility policies and services. To meet this standard, the applicable resources, such as the disability policy, can be included in the syllabus in a statement form, which would then,
as here's the mention that accessibility policies and services, which is designed by the QM standards, but they also mention that every country, federal and local state, have their own set of standards related to the accessibility students. So it can be revised according to the country, state, or federal, or any local place where you are going to implement the QM standards.
obtain the telephone number or link to the Disability Service Office and their contact info. 7.3 explains that course instructions either articulate or link to the institution's academic support services and resources in order to help learners succeed in the course. These resources include, but are not limited to, the contact information to library resources, testing services, math and writing centers, or citation sources. Again, all of these and other applicable resources have been included in the aforementioned file that could be linked in the course or listed in the syllabus. Request access to it through the instructional design team. Continuing this pattern, 7.4 says that the course instructions either articulate or link to the institution's student services and resources. Under this component, we think about contact information and resources related to advising, registration, financial aid, campus life, counseling, career services, and student organizations. Conveniently, the same file mentioned earlier contains all of these aspects. It is now time to review the main concepts of the 7th quality manual: technical support, accessibility policies and services, academic support services, and student services. This concludes the 7th Quality Matters Standard. If you have any questions,
so see, here is the 7th standard, which is concluded by the technical support, which is very important for the learner because we are giving them a new technical era. So we have to support them. Accessibility policies and services, which I already mentioned, that is vary from country to country, and also academic support services and the student services, which is related to the totally for the learners, and which all are the very important. Now the last one, that is accessibility and usability, that is the 8th one. Let's have a look how internationally accessibility standards mention. It's 6 standards, and you can see the worth of it. The first three is the three that is the essential according to the QM, and the last three are the very.
hello everyone. Here we are at the last brief video in the Quality Matters series. Standard 8 addresses the core concepts of accessibility and usability. With disabled students in mind, the course design reflects a commitment to accessibility so that all learners can access all course content as well as activities. Regarding usability, the goal is to create a course in which all learners can navigate easily and interact with course elements. Standard 8 has 5 components. The first 2 are essential, while the other 3 are very important. Let's now investigate the details. 8.1 says that course navigation facilitates ease of use. Navigation refers to the movement of the learner from one place to another in the online course. If it is planned well, navigation throughout the course will be consistent, logical, and efficient, which assists learner success. Consistent layout for content, instructional materials, tools, and media means that they are easily accessible from anywhere in the course. Repetitive design elements can increase intuitiveness. For example, if content for each module is organized in the same way in a folder system, students will have an easier way to find what they're looking for. Course pages can have links, files, and icons that are labeled with self-describing, meaningful names. Icons that are links can also have additional accompanying text links. When tables are used to organize data, appropriate headers are needed. It is also advised to utilize heading styles in a page or document to illustrate the hierarchy of the material. In addition, a table of contents can be included that allows the document. 8.2 explains that information is provided about the accessibility of all technologies required in the course. Learners with disabilities need access to information on the learning management system or other required technologies. To meet this component, include links to the accessibility statement.
You can see that if there is an accessibility point, and as we are using a Blackboard learning management system, and there's a very clear cut option in the help center. There's a help.blackboard.com. You can find out the accessibility details, which is provided by the Blackboard, and also there's all the requirements and details available there.
For all required technologies, either in the course syllabus or on the Blackboard page where you list the required software, or under the resources section. 8.3 describes that the course provides alternative means of access to course materials in formats that meet the needs of diverse learners. This statement refers to the non-text content that needs equivalent, accurate textual representations. For example, a video or animation needs accurate captions or a text file that contains the transcripts for the video. Visual information such as images, graphs, and tables need to be described via an alt tag, long description, caption, or audio file. Tables need headings for columns and rows. PDFs that contain text should not be merely image scans. Instead, the text in the PDF file needs to be selectable and searchable. Colors alone should not be relied upon to convey meaning. Another way that does not require perceiving different colors should be added to aid the vision impaired. 8.4 focuses on course designs that facilitate readability. Here, distractions in the course should be minimized, and the content should be clearly presented so that learners can easily read it and interpret it. Let's see some examples of strategies to facilitate readability. Similar content can be grouped together. Headings can indicate change of topic. Font style and size can be selected to maximize legibility. White spaces can be used appropriately to increase comprehension and reduce eye fatigue that occurs with large blocks of text. Text can be clearly distinguishable from the background with appropriate colors and sufficient contrast. And course materials should contain minimal spelling, grammar, or word choice errors. 8.5 examines whether course multimedia facilitate ease of use. Images, audio files, animation, videos, and interactive components need to be easy to use, understandable, and interoperational across devices. Here are some examples to consider. Graphics and animations can enhance materials without being distractive. Images should be appropriately sized and can be viewed in their entirety without scrolling. Audio quality should be clear. A video window can be resized, and the resolution needs to be sufficient for comprehension. Longer videos than 15 to 20 minutes can be broken down into shorter segments and/or can be searchable. And finally, movement through presentations can be controlled. It is now time to review the key components of the 8th Quality Matters Standard. Course navigation facilitates ease of use. Information is provided about the accessibility of all technologies. Course provides alternative means of access to course materials in formats that meet the needs of diverse learners. Course designs facilitate readability. And lastly, course multimedia facilitate ease of use. This concludes.
Okay, this is Task 8, which is just concluded like the easy course navigation. Because the course navigation is an important part while we are giving a one e-course. Students have to be look at all the content, so navigation is easy and with the one pattern, which is very important. And the accessibility information of technology, that we are not doing this for one kind of the students. We do need to be have all the kind of the students with some disabilities, so we do need to know about the information which technologies need to be connected with this course for the accessibility purpose, and the alternative means of access of that content is important for the diverse students, and also facilitate readability. Readability is a very important part while you are giving some content on a screen, so the readability is the important part, and the easy multimedia use. There must not be a lot of different kind of software, different kind of steps to access that one. So easy to use multimedia is important to connect with your e-courses. So these all are the 8 rubrics, 8 journal rubrics, which have the 42 specific rubrics. These are the all standards, which is very important to intact in our e-courses. You are just designing a e-courses or planning to design a e-courses. These rubrics are must to follow. And you can also create the rubrics in the Blackboard Learn for the assessment, tests, and exams. And now after this session, you have a more broader view about what you have to add and what you have not to add on it. So this is all are interconnected, and these are the very important part of teaching. You can say, even though you are giving a course which is a blended learning, or in a traditional form, or even a totally online course, these all rubrics are important. So I hope these all explained well, and you understand it now in a very broader way, and you have to implement it in your e-courses design. Thank you so much. If you have any question, or you want me to repeat any kind of thing, I can do it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending and giving a time to this session. These sessions are important for the instructors, and you will get the recording of this session as well in a e-unit group I will share. And also you can share with your colleagues, because this is an important session for designing a e-courses with the framework of National E-Learning Center. And I do have a request, please, before leaving, you have to rename your name with your employee ID, which is mandatory, because for getting the certification, you have to attend and register the session, and also your employee ID help us to identify.